something interesting come up from Asia. So I hope you enjoy.
And Bart, if you'd like to say a few words about your work, that'd be great.
Sure. What's that? No. We can just let it play. I've talked all day in class. I'd probably lose my voice if I talk more than, or louder than I need to. Hi, this is my piece, Under Saraswati River. It is from 2006. This particular version I quickly reanimated specific for this show. But the music itself is from 2006. So this one, the piece was composed. It's been a while since I've actually given this piece a whole lot of thought. Helen had come to me earlier in the year, probably back in February, and asked me to be a part of it because many pieces that I had done in the past involved Indian culture in some form or another. And she was curious to know if I would be able to include any of those works in this show. And this was the piece that we decided upon. Interestingly enough, the person that I collaborated on with this, we can't hear it right now, we can't hear the music right now, but at some point you can come back and see the piece, or maybe you've seen it before we started talking. The piece is a collaboration between myself, Curtis Bond, who is a well-known and respected electronic musician who in 2006 decided to begin working with traditional Indian instruments, specifically the sitar and the daruba. There's also collaboration with Jaita Chowdhury. She's the woman singing, and she also happens to be my wife, which is the connection that I have to Indian culture. There's a long story there. But anyway, so the piece evolved when I was in grad school and I was studying with Curtis Bond, and I think the only reason I got into I shouldn't say this, but in the back of my mind I've always wondered the only reason that I actually got into this specific grad school was because Curtis Bond was also in the process of beginning to work with Indian music, and I had done quite a bit of work there, and so I thought that maybe there was some connection there, and that was how I got in. I don't know. Maybe it was on the merits of my work. Sometimes I don't know why I doubt that, but anyway. So it was very natural for me to work with Curtis as his student to try to put this piece together. There was a project when I got there in 2006 at RPI, sorry, this is at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York. When I had gotten there to study, there was a series of what they called dome works, which was probably about a 2-month-long series of performances that happened at the local dome, sort of I don't want to call it a planetarium dome because it was used for many things. There's a video projector in the center of the room with a special lens that projects video images onto a domed ceiling. They used it for doing astrological sort of or different displays of that nature, but it was also used for many other things. And they invited artists to come every other week and give some sort of presentation there, and that's where this piece came from, the idea for the piece came from. That's where the under Saraswati River comes from, is the fact that it was performed under a dome and everyone laid on the carpet with pillows, and the performers performed on the carpet under this huge dome where this sort of floated above you. So it was almost as if you were a fish underwater and we're watching the piece, the river itself, sort of float over you. And that's the inspiration for the imagery. The music comes from a classical Hindustani raga that is in devotion to the goddess Saraswati. I can't remember, it's been a long time since I've really thought about the music for the piece. I don't remember exactly the name of that particular raga at the moment. We didn't perform that raga traditionally. We used the notes and the rules of that music to compose this new piece of music. So it's sort of more inspired by the raga than an actual version of the raga, which is important to denote. And in the piece, my wife basically just is singing over and over again several different mantras to the goddess Saraswati. And that's the piece, pretty much. This particular version, the imagery that you see is, right now you can see this is actually a traditional image of Saraswati that has been sort of kaleidoscoped, I guess for lack of a better term, with a program that I wrote in software to create that image, just something I quickly made in Photoshop. And what I intend to do is to have this piece, we're going to perform this piece on October 26th. When Helen asked me to do this piece, I immediately called Curtis and said, hey, do you mind if I show this piece? Because I thought he really didn't like the piece very much because he and I never spoke about it after we performed it. So I kind of took that as he just didn't like the piece, and I never did much with it after that. He said, oh, I love that piece. I would love to remake it. Can I come and perform it at NIU? What would it take to get me to come there? And I was kind of blown away by that. And so, very fortunate for us, he's going to be here on October 25th, the 26th, and maybe part of the 27th. I forget exactly when he's available. But he's going to do several workshops about his electronic sitar and the way that he composes. And we're going to perform on Friday, October 26th at, I think, 8 o'clock in the recital hall. And we will be sort of immersing you with video imagery. I don't want to say too much, but it will be a very immersive visual and audio experience. And I would love to see us remove all the seats in the recital hall and sit on the floor the same way that the piece was originally intended to be performed in 2006. So, okay?